greatest pass rushers in NFL history, and I mean that. He's a 4-time All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, 7 straight seasons with double-digit sacks, and he's the 5th fastest ever to 100 sacks. Please welcome the man, the myth, the mullet.
Yeah.
And most recently, Pro Football Hall of Fame semifinalist defensive end, Jared Allen. What's up, Jared?
Oh, appreciate it, man. With all this, and I'm blushing over here. You have me all blushing.
Man, I
doing
got to
good.
show you love. You know, a lot of guys I introduce, I never actually played against them. I played against you a ton, so I know how great you were on the field. Congrats on being named Hall of Fame semifinalist. You're part of an elite list of players on the ballot for the first time, and there's no doubt that you have the credentials made for Canton. But what does it mean, though, when you hear that, when you see that? Jared Allen, semifinalist.
It's humbling. It really is humbling. You know, I think, as you go through your career, obviously, I tell everybody that, I didn't come in the NFL and be like, my whole goal is to be in the Hall of Fame. Obviously, that's you attain, right? I just wanted to be the best, one of the best defensive players I could be. I've said it from, throughout my entire career. The reason I played the game was for, the respect of the people I played against and the respect of the people that played this game before me. And, I understood that the fans, obviously they spent their hard-earned money to come watch us play, and that's why we had jobs. So I try to put it out there every time and have fun with it. And this is the result of that, I think. So for me, it's humbling. It's a great list of players. I mean, it's the Hall of Fame, right? It's the best of the best, it's the best individual honor you could ever receive. So, but again, that didn't, wasn't my, didn't define me as that's where your target is. And so this is just kind of the sweet rewards of giving, something that I loved for so long, gave it everything I had.
And you deserve every second of it. And I go back to 2011. Nate mentioned some of your accolades and your great stats, but 2011, everyone knows the sack record and where that was. It was 22 and a half. Take us back to week 17 against the Bears, because you come in with 18 and a half sacks. You need 4 and a half to break the record. Go into the Metrodome. Tell us what happened from that point on.
Yeah, so actually that was it was a weird week. I mean, we weren't very good. We were like 3-13 that year, and so that part sucked, right? But I had some friends in town's last game, and really I was just trying to get the sack lead. At that time, there was only been a handful of people that had 2 sack titles, right? And Ware, I think, had I was in the lead with 18 and a half. I think Ware had 17. Babin had 16 and a half. So I was really trying to, just keep the sack lead. And I told a buddy of mine, we were, Friday night, we were down in the basement hanging out. And he's like, how you feeling? I was like, honestly, I got this weird feeling it's going to be insanely good or insanely bad. I don't know which way it's going to go quite yet. I'm either going to fail miserably or I might get this thing. And, they came out and they started max proing off the get-go with these split backs. And I got to give Fred Pugich, our D coordinator that year, credit. He started blitzing Greenway, everybody up the middle. And it was either they were going to take them, the backs were either going to have to step up and take them or chip me. And they decided to take the backers, and they left me one-on-one, and we had a good time. So it was disappointing to be that close. The thing I remember the most, they left me one-on-one towards the end of the game with a tight end, and I slipped coming off the line. I feel like that was my chance right there to get 23, and I blew it. But yeah, or the other one was they took a sack away from me on a Wednesday in the Green Bay game. I had 2 sacks. They took one away and called it a team sack because they said Aaron muffed the ball before I sacked him. So they gave it a team sack, took it away from me. There was 23.
There was.
Team sack, team schmack. I hate hearing that. You finished half a sack short of that record. Jared, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Do you think that record, knowing how hard it was, how close you were, do you see it being broken in the next few years? And which defensive star in the NFL right now do you think would be most likely to do it?
You know what? I would say no, just because you can't miss. I mean, I honestly think if I go back and look at that, I might have missed 4 sacks that year, right? You look at opportunities that are realistic. The ball comes out so fast these days, especially with all these RPOs and the way the game is. I think if there's anybody that can do it, Myles Garrett is an absolute monster. He has to stay healthy, obviously. I think it's kind of plagued him. Well, I guess he was suspended last year, but that dude, I think that dude's a stud. He reminds me a lot of a Julius Pepper type guy. Other than that, I think that you haven't really seen the consistency year in and year out of guys at the top. You see, a linebacker might shoot off for 19 or stuff. So I don't know. It was tough. 23. That's an insane number. And you look at Justin Houston. He was the last one to get 22. And I mean, you got to stack multiple 2-sack, 3-sack. You got to, because you're not going to get a sack in every game, and you got to run a streak. So
Yeah.
I don't see it breaking anytime soon. But if somebody was going to do it, I think it might be Myles Garrett.
Back to you, Jared. What if Josh McCown that day had taken a dive and given you a free pass like Favre gave you? Did you deserve that?
Absolutely should have. You know which one he should have done it on? When I was chasing him out of bounds, there was a bootleg, and I was chasing him. All he had to do is, no one would have thought anything. I'm just run out of bounds. It was like a half-yard lost, But instead, he flipped it out of bounds like a real football player. My goodness. I'll take it. Hey, listen, I'll take it. We've all had some easy sacks in our career. And so you take them where you can get them, because you also have ones that are hard earned, and everybody knows you don't even always get a sack on your best pass rush. Sometimes you get coverage sacks, you get scramble sacks. So I got no ill feelings with Brett. Although I gave Brett a lot of crap for that when he was with us in Minnesota.
Also, Josh McCown, one of the known jerks in the NFL. Jared, we got to move on to a more important thing. You are a semifinalist for the Hall of Fame, but you are a streamlined first ballot entry into the Hairstyle Hall of Fame in the NFL. We've seen some great ones over the years.
Talk about it.
The Big Unit,
Okay.
Randy Johnson, Andre Agassi, my goat, Yarmir Yager. But Jared, tell us about the state of your mullet. And we would also like to know, Jared, I'm going to push my luck here. Did your choice in hair, how did it pair with your choice in jersey number?
So we'll start with the jersey number, right? The jersey number they gave to me, and I was like pissed when I came out of the league. But I was a fourth rounder, so what am I going to do? Nothing, right? I got no pool. And he had another offensive lineman, that had the same number. So I'm like, now I'm just a fourth round pick with the same, number as some goofy lineman, and so I was like pissed, because I'm like, this is an O-line number. This is ridiculous. Obviously, they don't plan on me being on this team very long. So I was already pissed about that. I was already pissed about being drafted in the fourth round with like 125 people ahead of me. And so, but my old coach, Bob Carmelo, came up to me and said, you know what? He said, we gave you that number because it's an old school number, and you're an old school type of player, so you make it cool. And I was like, all right, cool. I appreciate that. So they asked me if I wanted to change it. I said no. Parlay into the mullet. I had a bet. So I was looking at one of my dear friends, my financial advisor, his college school ID. He had this just mullet down his neck, and he looked like, Peter Griffin. If Peter Griffin had a mullet, it was amazing. And I was like, bro, you need to bring that back. And he was like, I'll do it if you do it. So we made a bet, before tax day, who could have the best mullet. And it just took on a life of its own. The guys in the locker room, Dustin Colquitt got involved, and I would love to take credit for this, but Dustin Colquitt was the reason for the racing stripes. And it just started going. And then, I was like, your hair gets in that weird funky stage sometimes where you're like, I was having like a Britney moment. I was like, I'm just shave it all off. And I was like in the barber chair, and I was getting text messages like, if you touch your hair, we're beating you when you get to the locker room. Leave it alone. All right, we're good.
So good. And you still rock it today, 5 years after your playing day, so it obviously worked.
Yeah, know what? When your face is ugly, you got to keep all the attention away from my dick. I got to get it on the backside. My nose is going
Speaking
this
my
way.
language, my friend.
I realized after I stopped playing, like my forehead droops because I don't have my Cro-Magnon brow anymore.
Jared.
When you got into the league, though, it's funny. Everyone knows you as this defensive player at Idaho State, but you talk to scouts and you bring up Jared Allen's name, and they all say the same thing. He actually came into the league at a different position.
Wow.
Tell us about what special teams position you excelled at when you were at Idaho State playing for those guys,
Where's the weight
for
room
the
at?
Idaho State Bengals.
First of all, what was with the world's largest shoulder pads back in the day? We got to fix that out.
Oh, I love it.
But no, so I've been long snapping since I was 8 years old, and to this day, I'm probably still one of the best long snappers in the NFL. So that's what I was really, really good at. A lot of people wanted me to long snap. I could also play defense, so it worked out.